1968 Dodge Charger RT, factory 440 automatic, green with a white interior, white bumblebee stripe. This is a one-owner car entrusted to Graveyard Cars.
With a 68 Charger scheduled to be dipped, Mark and Alyssa document the car before disassembly.
What we want to do right now is verify it's what the owner says it is. A real 68 Charger RT, the color's the original color, the interior color's the original color, and all the numbers match. That's the way it's alleged to me, okay?
Okay.
So, a lot of information right here on this data plate right here. XS29, that's the first 4 characters of the VIN. It's a special price class. It means it's the RT version of the Charger, okay? So we know that the fender tag right there matches exactly the first 4 characters of a real RT. So what's that VIN read?
It's gonna read XS29.
Your VIN code system is right here at the front of the book. Just a real quick thing. Go to 1968 passenger car. First digit is an X, means it's a Dodge, right? S means special. Special means RT on these cars, okay?
Okay.
29, 2-door sports hardtop.
Okay.
Okay. The 5th digit of the VIN on this one should be an L. 1 4-barrel or 2.
1.
They only made them with 1 4-barrel, okay? The 8 represents the year, 1968. In 1969, the full VIN was on the fender tag. It matched the windshield, it matched the trunk lip in the back, and it matched the radiator support. In 1968, they used the shipping order numbers on the radiator support and the trunk lip, and it only appears to one section of this car right here. 68 and older, they didn't put the VINs on the radiator support, they put the shipping order number.
Okay.
The shipping order number is right here on the VIN tag. It's the last series of numbers right there.
077834.
So this and this belong together. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, the question is, did somebody take this radiator support out of another car, cut it out, and weld it in here, put the 2 screws into it that make it look like it's an RT, and all of a sudden they've got an RT out of a 318 car? My guess is absolutely not, for one, original owner. Number 2 is, you don't see like a shiny core support that just got put in around an old muddy car. When these cars were going to be built, they got assigned a shipping order number immediately. Okay. Then they got assigned a VIN number. So we know the core support, radiator support started life in this car, right?
Yep.
Okay, they hide the other body number underneath this weather strip.
Oh.
Nobody's had this weather strip up. You can see that's old and rusty.
Ugh.
So we're gonna pull that first.
Maybe you're taking some of the paint off, that's okay?
Yeah, because we're gonna restore the car. So tell me if those numbers match the last 8 digits of the shipping order number. 077834.
077834.
So we've established that all the body numbers match. The only things we have left to make sure of is the color codes for the car and a quick inventory of what's here and what's not, okay? The best example of an original color is inside the deck lid. Do you know why?
Because it doesn't get faded from the sun?
Right, exactly. It's kind of a reddish copper, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go look at the paint code. What are those 3 letters right there?
MM1.
MM1. Turbine Bronze Metallic. The M is the code that you're looking for. Turbine Bronze. That's probably Turbine Bronze. Let's look at the interior, the trim, the C6W. That's your trim code. That's going to tell you if it's a premium interior or not a premium interior and what colors it is, okay? And it's also going to tell you if it's bucket or bench. First letter C means it's a Charger interior. That's good because we've got a Charger, right? And then W will be for white, white with black trim. Make sure you have a white interior with some black trim.
Dash is black.
Dash is black, steering column's black, console's black, carpet's black.
Looks black.
But the seats in the interior are white. 1968 only. Transverse, that means it goes around the back of the car. Sport stripe, white. So it is coded for a bumblebee stripe. I'm really glad that everything on the car is as correct as the owner alleged it was when it got here. It's a one-owner car, so it's nice to find out that there's no surprises. I can almost guarantee you that engine either started life in that car or it was put in within the first year. My guess is it's the original numbers matching engine, but until that engine's out on the ground and we can clean it, we can't be sure. Visual inspection is done on the outside of the car. We're gonna raise it up in the air and do a visual inspection of the underside of the car. It's a disc brake car. Did he order disc brakes? Did he want disc brakes? Because this is some of the first era stuff that get disc brakes on the Mopars. How you can tell if it's a sure grip rear end or a positive traction rear end, Chrysler calls it a sure grip.
How can you tell?
When you spin the wheel, the other wheel goes the same direction. If this was a one-legger and it wasn't a sure grip, that wheel over there would go the opposite direction. So it does have a sure grip in it. Anyway, just looking visually, you got your belt moldings, Charger moldings, back glass and reveal moldings, your flip-top gas cap, which by the way in 1970 read fuel and 68 was just plain like that. Engine's in place. Looks like this is very original. Most of the time by now, somebody's yanked that air cleaner off of there, thrown it away, and put a Mickey Mouse chrome one on there.
God.
That one's still got the original one. It's got the original pad underneath the hood for the insulation. Front bumper, grille, it's actually in good shape. Bumper needs to be re-chromed, but for the most part, everything is there and in shape. Truth is, this is a really nice car. And when they're a nice car like this to start with, the finished product is going to be even that much better.
With the car documented and disassembled, it's now time for the bodywork to begin.
So this little 68 Charger, when I looked at it in the original photos before we brought the car here, it looked pretty good. It looked solid. It isn't until it goes out to dipping and comes back that you really see all of its sins. We had a section of driver's floor panel we had to replace and a small patch on the passenger side. The left-hand frame rail, that was the only other big thing on this car. The good news is the frame rails in the rear were good, so all we had to do was put POR 15 over it, which is a rust inhibitor, and we were able to seal it back up with new metal. One of the things that has made my job so much easier is companies like Auto Metal Direct that are making the replacement panels, because 20 years ago, I would have had to find a good Dodge Charger and cut it up to get the pieces out of it that I needed. Now, I can just call and order them and they fit. Miller makes some really nice equipment that we're able to do beautiful fit and finish work. All these things add up to how we are able, at the end of the day, to put a car back together exactly the way the factory did, and in some cases, maybe a little bit better. We sent it over to have the mud work done, and then handed it off to our friend Will the painter.
So once I get dressed here in the booth and I'm painting, it's a nice color. We haven't done it yet. It's real pretty. It's kind of like the burnt orange, but it's a little more bronze look to it. Super transparent, high metallic. So it's one of those colors that you just got to be patient, and you'll spend the next 4 or 5 hours doing. Once I'm done with the car, it's gonna look amazing. I mean, it's the final paint. The prep work went great, and I'm a better painter than Mark, so of course it's gonna look good. That MM1 Turbine is the first time we've ever done that color here. First time I've done that color. It's a gorgeous color. Then you top on the fact that it's got a white stripe and white interior. This car is just gonna be an absolutely stunning car and probably the best looking car that's ever left here.
Will finishes the Charger's paint just as Mark arrives at the shop. After Mark performed his quality control test, he determined that the cut and buff earned his seal of approval.
Okay, have you primed the carburetor yet?
No, sir.
Okay, why don't we put some fuel in the carburetor before we start cranking it over. Doug and I are out getting ready to fire up the 1968 440 Magnum. This is the numbers matching engine for our 68 Charger RT. This is the original numbers transmission, numbers engine. We're gonna fire it up on our new Easy Run stand. I'll show you a little bit about that as we get started, but right now, we're gonna get the engine running. Crank her up. There's not a better feeling. You hit that button and it fires off and doesn't backfire and crap all over the place. Now, I always expect them to be noisy because the lifters aren't pumped up yet. But boy, it sounds great. We're gonna run it until the thermostat opens, and then we're gonna add more water to make sure our cooling system is working okay. It's idling fast right now, about 2,400, 2,500 RPM. That's because we're trying to break in the cam. See the paint starting to burn off the manifolds? We have our transmission back here. We can go ahead and put that in neutral, top it off, and it's ready to go in the car. Go ahead and shut it down, kill it. Go get a rag in case it pukes on you. So when you start one of these engines up, whether it's on an engine run stand or whether it's in the car, there's a purging process. You top off the radiator as far as you can go. Usually it's about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons of water antifreeze mix. But the thermostat isn't open at that time. So the whole block is empty. It doesn't have water in it. What you have to do, and this is where you have to be careful, is you run that engine up until you believe that the thermostat has opened. You feel that upper radiator hose. As soon as that thing gets hot, you know the thermostat's open. You also know it just sucked a gallon right out of the radiator and put it into the engine. That means the radiator's low now. We know we run a lot of our engines, try to get them all, on this easy run engine run stand. What we loved about that was that you could take an engine, move it over to the stand, make your connections, run it, make sure that you don't have oil leaks, make sure that it doesn't overheat, make sure that the carburetor's dialed in right, all these little things. And so it's much easier if it's kind of a failure to do it on that stand than if it were in the car. Okay, so right now we've got great oil pressure. The engine's running really good, running about 2,500 RPM. I'm gonna back the idle down. The cam is broke in. Then we'll shut it off. That's a good idle right there for right now. It's a little high, but that's okay. Good job, we're straight. All right. Kill the mill. We call it kill the mill.
While Will meticulously paints the Charger's grille for its later install, Mark and his cousin Dougie build out the foot pedal assembly and rear drum brakes.
So Doug, go ahead and cycle through it. So what you see is those things going in and out like that. These right here are gonna press against a brake drum. So what I do here is you see that I'm moving it back and forth. As I move it back and forth, it shows.
What?
It shows that it's free like that, okay? Now, when I tell Dougie that I do want him to go ahead and press it down, you see how I can't move it anymore? You need a psychiatrist, man. Something's wrong with you.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Now that Mark and his cousin Dougie have test started the 68 Charger's engine, it's time to install the drivetrain.
So we're gonna install the rear end first. Doug, I think the car will need to come down. So these 4 studs right here go through these 4 holes right here in the leaf spring hanger, the reinforcement, all the way in, and then they get bolted down. At that point, we raise the back up, hang the shackles into place where they're supposed to go, and then we can let it down, connect the shocks and the rest of the lines.
Got it.
Okay.
Here. How's yours doing, Mark?
I got one, but we got an angle thing going on. So do you have yours already started?
I do. There, got it.
Got it? Okay.
All right.
Beautiful. Okay, you got your shackle hardware. Nice.
Yes.
There you go. Put the nuts on
I
it.
got 'em.
Okay. Go ahead and let me know when you're up far enough for that to go on.
Watch your head.
I am. How are we looking? Looking good?
Easy.
Looking good?
Yeah.
Okay, it feels pretty good so far. Okay,
Car down.
let's see if we can get the back ones in. Beautiful, okay?
Lucky.
Right now we have the K-member bolts in place. Doug's underneath there putting the transmission cross-member bolts in. I'm gonna give him a hand with that. Once we get those in, we can raise the car up and then button everything up. And there's a lot of pieces that need to go together after that, so do that. Okay, put a nut on that. And next one. Back one here.
You want a hammer?
There you go. Just put the nut on there. You don't need to worry about tightening. We'll raise it up.
Okay.
Good job. Okay.
Mark and Dougie finish tightening the last few bolts, knowing they still have a laundry list of things left to install before unveiling the car to its owner.
Right now the ghouls are getting ready to install our dash assembly in the 68 Charger RT. We sent the dash out a couple of months ago to Instrument Specialties. It's back now and they're going to install it. The first thing to see here is take a look at the dash VIN plate. These dash VIN plates cannot be reproduced, period. It's against the law. This is the original one. What Instrument Specialties did was they took it off, detailed the dash, and reinstalled it with the original rosette rivets and the Chrysler Corporation transfer, a licensed product. This is exactly how that dash VIN plate would look if it was 1968 and the car was on the showroom floor. If you look carefully, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this is a very grainy, textured, matte finish. It's not semi-gloss rattle can. It's not flat black. It's not throw some dirt on it while it's wet paint. This is a lacquer paint by PPG that has a suede agent in it. So the thinking behind a matted finish on the interior of the car is reflection. It's light reflection. So if it's anywhere in the view of the driver of the car, you'll never see a real shiny painted surface. It should be a matted suede finish.
With Mark's green light, Dougie and Justin carefully install the dash.
So right now, got the ghouls setting everything out to be able to finish up the last pieces on our 68 Charger RT. One of the last pieces is also the biggest payoff pieces. It's this beautiful grille assembly. This was a really clean California car. The guy bought it when it was only a couple of years old. He's taken very good care of it. So this grille assembly, when we started, was really nice. It just needed to be restored. These are actually his original emblems. I love that they've been on the car for 50 years. I think that's a cool thing. Here we go, looking good. Come on in.
There we go.
Right now, Doug, so real gently, try to push that through the openings. Just real nice, right there. Justin, you have the other two?
Yeah, got them right here.
See those? Great. Okay, I think we're all right to do that. That looks pretty good, pretty darn good. Okay, rear end. Okay. Nice, just like that. Needs to go in towards the passenger side a little bit. Okay, so you guys got the bolts out. Let's do the valance panel. This is really nice sheet metal from Auto Metal Direct, but you always have a little tweak to do. So they do that before it goes through paint and body, so we're not out here trying to put a valance on that doesn't fit with all the cameras rolling. You know? So the guys are almost done with it. They're getting ready to put the front bumper guards on. We've got our valance, our bumper, our grille assembly. I've got to put a bumblebee stripe on it. Then all we have to do is start it up, take it down, have the alignment done, do our road test, check for squeaks and leaks, final detail, and that car is done and able to go back to the owner.
With everything plumbed out, accurate exhaust installed, Justin rolls the Charger into place to fire up its engine one more time.
So what we're going to do is just see if we can crank the fuel up from the tank. I don't want to take the air cleaner off and prime it if we don't have to. It looks to me like it would run.
Whoa, whoa. Man, did you hear that? Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss, huh? Yeah.
Sounds good.
Maybe rattled.
Sounds really good.
60 pounds of oil pressure at an idle. So now that the car is running, we just got to make sure that the fluid levels are where they're supposed to be. Information labels and assembly line markings I still have to do on it. Still needs to go down and have the wheel alignment. Other than that, and just driving it, you know, making sure there's no problems before the owner gets here. That's it. Really a day's worth of work, and that car is ready to deliver to the owner. All right.
All right, here we go.
Come on out. Here we go. Gentlemen. Will?
I'm included in that gentleman.
All right, now walk through here. It's a little bit on the dark side, so like
Okay,
Pink
you know.
Floyd. We're gonna have you stand here. So behind that incredibly obnoxious light is your car that you have been waiting for an awfully long time.
Oh, man.
Are you happy?
Oh, yeah.
Are you excited?
You know what? I'm very excited that after bugging him for a decade or
This
more
is why we're here.
and getting
That's
the car
true.
up here and then working with you, that it's done.
The truth is, if he hadn't been torturing you to get the car done, it'd be like sitting in that same little lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, bud.
All right, so we're gonna do this in order here if we are ready. Kill the key light first. Wheel lights. So right now your car is floating
Oh,
on a
Yeah.
pillow of light. Are you ready to see your car?
oh man.
All right. House lights. And there, my friend,
God.
is your 1968 Dodge Charger, the way it was when it left the assembly line
That's insane.
on the day that it was built.
Oh my God. Jeez.
If you'll notice, the body lines, they never looked that good from the factory, so we have to make them. Yeah, take a look down the side.
Outstanding.
Yep, absolutely.
I always love this too.
I do too. Coolest feature ever. Absolutely
Yeah,
coolest
it's-
feature ever.
The back end is
Is that
baby.
sexy or is that
Now
sexy?
that is sexy.
Yeah. Take a look at your interior.
Okay.
You got to see that.
Incredible.
And that, my friend, is the way it should look.
Yeah.
We have the original interior kits that we get from our friends at Classic Industries. Your seats have pearl in them. In 68, the white seats had a pearl effect in them. 69, they
Wow.
didn't.
Wow.
So that's very unique. The pleats going that direction, that's
Right.
all unique. And slide behind the wheel.
Can I actually sit
You
in
can
my,
sit in your baby.
Can I sit in my baby?
We're gonna let it down here and fire it up in a little bit. But right now, you go ahead and set in there.
Hey, Dave, you're going to want to try this out.
How's that feel?
Oh, this is so sweet. You guys, you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
You really did. I mean,
Well, why are you hiding back there? Get over here. You're hiding behind the camera.
Dave, come on, Dave.
Dave.
We're just back here talking
Well,
cars.
don't be back there talking.
Yeah.
We're shooting a show, man. Have a seat.
We're talking
Check
cars.
this out.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
No talking.
Got that opalescent to the white.
Give her a crank up.
Fire her up.
Pump her once and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful.
That's what we want.
Give her a little juice.
He said a little.
You know my right foot weighs 50 pounds.
You made another dream come true.
I'm the dream
Actually,
maker.
two. And
Two
three.
dreams.
My wife's
Thank you,
not
Mark.
here, but she's going to appreciate it when she sees it.
So everything on this is just the way it should have been in 1968.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, it came out awesome. After all this time, it'll be stored properly, because if not, I'm going to be over there dragging it out with my truck. And he'll now find out what it's like to go to Cars and Coffee events and go to some car shows with me.
I just want to thank the whole Graveyard Cars team for an incredible job. I was talking to one of the guys just saying, hey, you know what? When you have those hard days at work, just remember you're making someone's dreams come true. And you guys, all at Graveyard Cars, really made my wife and I's dreams come true. And my buddy Dave.
Yeah.